everyone, I'm Mind, and welcome to another throwback LEGO Ninjago review. Today we'll be taking a look at set 70748, Titanium Dragon, which came out in 2015. This was a part of the Tournament of Elements wave and contained 360 pieces, 3 minifigures, and retailed for $39.99 in the US. Let me know in the comments which old Ninjago set you guys want to see a throwback review on next week, but now let's get on to the review. So here's the main build of the set, the Titanium Dragon itself, and this was easily one of my favorite sets back in 2015. Zane is my favorite ninja, and the Zane minifigure in this set was exclusive. This was our first Zane Dragon in 4 years, so it was super exciting when this was coming out. And how does it hold up nowadays? Well, I definitely think it's aged quite a bit. However, still I like it for what it is, and I think there is a lot of positive qualities here, but I don't know if I'd call it like the best Ninjago set of all time. Let's take a look up a little closer, though. So the set uses this brick-built dragon head, and over the years, LEGO's gone back and forth between using brick-built heads and using molded heads. And at the time when this came out, I was like, wow, this is so much better than the old molded heads. But comparing it to the newer molded heads, I definitely prefer the newer molded ones. Still, though, this is pretty nice. The shaping's really impressive, like how they were able to capture a dragon's face here. I believe this was the first Ninjago Dragon to use a brick-built head, so it may not be the strongest one they ever did, but I still think it turned out pretty alright. I really like the cheese slopes for the eyes, and like all these different angled pieces that are used to, like, sort of represent scales and whatnot. The mouth is also able to hinge open, and I'm not a huge fan of how the bottom of the mouth looks. It just looks very disconnected from the top. If you keep it kind of close, it doesn't look nearly as bad. But yeah, I feel like that could have been done a little bit better. And you can see it actually just connects on with 2 Skulkin arms. And then you have this trans-blue circular piece underneath. So yeah, the head's alright. It looks like he has little whiskers at the front, which is pretty cute, but I don't think it's anything especially amazing. It's alright for what it is, but we've gotten many other dragons with much better heads. You can see the head's connected onto the neck on a mini ball joint, and the neck's connected onto the body with a larger ball joint. It's all squeaky because this is such an old set. So you can move the head around to show some personality. There's just a couple examples. Coming to the body now, though, you have these broad shoulder blades right here. I think that's pretty good parts usage. I like the little ice spikes coming up. The arms on the side are on these rigid Technic joints. There's a sticker on the bottom part right here. And then they use these large silver-like bladed wing pieces. And these are easily the coolest part of the build. They're also used on the actual wings. But seeing them on the arms, that is easily the coolest part of the set. It just makes the dragon look dynamic and strong and powerful. I absolutely love that, and it really gives this such a distinct look when comparing it to other Ninjago dragons. The wings are able to hinge out if you want them to. Personally, I think they look best when they're actually hugging against the body, but you do have multiple options there. And the front legs on both sides are exactly identical. Coming to the back legs, very simple design. You can see they just use these CCBS feet. Same thing with the front, though, it's smaller ones. Back legs, though, yeah, nothing special. Very simple there. It feels quite blocky, honestly. Not the biggest fan of that. Now coming to the body of the dragon, you can see there's a few studs right here where you can sit Zane down. Plenty of room there. You can honestly probably fit a second character if you have them stand behind. Or actually, I guess you should move Zane back and have someone stand in front. But yeah, honestly, I appreciate how much room he has there. And you can see this figure fits in really well with the overall color scheme of this dragon. I think the two are a great match. I do like the way, like, the brown of the saddle's incorporated into, like, the main body of the build. It's not just plopped straight on. It makes it feel a little more natural, and that's something I do appreciate. In the back, too, you have 2 of these little backpacks, which are a lot of fun. Now, this set came out at a time where I was kind of past the point of playing with LEGO. I think I was, what, 13 or 14? But if this set had come out when I was just a little bit younger, I know I would have absolutely loved these bag pieces, because they're a fun accessory that you can attach to their minifigures and imagine that they're carrying things around in. And the fact that you get 2 in a set that's not, like, focused on them, that's really nice. And again, if this was in, like, a 2011 set or something, I know I would have played with these all the time. Also, on top of those are 2 golden sides, which you can use as Zane's weapons. And then there's a flagpole at the back with some text and Zane's original symbol. And this is actually on a mini ball joint, funnily enough. So you can move that around, though I'm not sure why you would really want to. The back section in the dragon's body has 4 more studs, so you could sit another character there if you wanted to. Though they'd kind of just be sitting loose on the dragon, while, like, up here, Zane's actually inset in a saddle. But for kids and whatnot, I think it's fun to have that there. And then the tail out the back is very simple. You just have a few mixel joints with some white tiles on top, and then at the very end you have, like, this icy lightning piece. This, I believe, was originally introduced in Hero Factory, and it works perfect for the dragon's tail here. It gives that, like, icy elemental feel, while also just looking really cool. Back up to the main body, there's also a point of articulation here. You can rotate it from side to side. I really love this rigid Technic joint in Translate Blue. That's a super cool color for that part, which I believe was probably originally introduced with, like, LEGO Chima, but it's super cool to see it used here as well, because it fits the dragon perfectly, and that's a part we don't see recolored all that often, especially non-transparent colors. So that works really well, and honestly adds a lot of life to the build. And then finally we come to the wings, and I have mixed opinions on these wings. I do like the actual wing blades out on the sides. They've got these icy stickers on them, which I think look great, and again, the silver looks awesome, and I think the shaping is perfect. However, I don't love the way that these connect to the body. It's just lots of open exposed Technic. You have open studs right here, you have, like, these dark tan pieces right there, and they really kind of distract from the whole vibe that this guy's going for. It feels very mechanical, which I guess isn't the biggest deal because it does have sort of that like robot dragon vibe with the Zane's whole like titanium aesthetic, but it's not mechanical in like a cool robotic way, it's mechanical in like a not finished being put together way. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of how all that looks. You probably could cover it up with just a few extra pieces, so I suppose it's not the biggest deal in that sense, but I just wish it looked a little bit better. Because on the actual ends, yeah, the blades look great, but the part actually connecting to the body, yeah, that could be a lot better. And once again, both wings are exactly identical, and they're on ball joints, so you can move them around. For example, have them back like this, up and out like this, or even just down at the dragon's sides. So yeah, lots of posability options there, and I think overall the wings are pretty good, because they have most of it right. There's just a few things that change there. In terms of overall posability, I think this dragon does a pretty good job, because obviously it's on 4 legs, there's lots of room for balance, the feet stay on the ground pretty nicely, so you can get them in a walking pose like this, and a million other different poses, but there's a lot of personality and expression you can get out of these guys, albeit a little bit limited with like the molded head and everything. But I think that's about it for the dragons. Now let's take a look at the side build, then the minifigures, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts. Here's the side build in the set. It's this little Anaconda shrine with a key, and this thing is cute. There's not much to it, but I like the overall vibes of it. The stickers on the side are really cool with like the Anaconda runes and with the sword and the helmets and the key. And I guess you imagine the key is the one to unlock Zane's chains from Chen's Island. You have some foliage around the side, and there's this catapult out the back, which if you push down on, it launches this little chain with 2 balls. Yeah, that's a fun and easy weapon to interact with. And also around back, you have 2 of these large spear pieces, which you could take off and use as extra weapons if you want. Yeah, I mean, as far as an extra side build in the set goes, this is pretty solid. No complaints from me. So here's the first minifigure in this set, Titanium Zane. And I've talked about this guy in my Every Zane minifigure ever video before, but if you haven't seen that, in short, I absolutely love this figure. This was the coolest Ninjago figure at the time that it came out, because while Titanium Zane is nothing new nowadays, this was the first time he was using this aesthetic, and aside from Hands of Time, this is really the only time he leaned fully into the silver aesthetic, and I have to say it does look really cool. My one criticism is I wish they leaned harder into the silver, because unlike the Hands of Time suit, the body and legs are completely silver. Here they just went with light gray, which is a little bit disappointing, but the silver on the hood and the armor and the arms does look really good. You can see he's got his kimono symbol on the top of his hood right here. Something kind of interesting, he actually does have silver printing on his hood like on the ZX robes, and none of the other ninja this wave have that, so that's very strange. It's very subtle and not super noticeable, but yeah, kind of at that angle you can see it. Not sure why they chose to do that, but hey, I mean, I'm not complaining, it does look cool. And that's just like a nice subtle bit of detail. And then the torso, I love how his original symbols there, and I love the small touches of white. And then I like the metallic printing to represent his chest. It all looks super cool. The metallic belt, too, I love. The blue visor on his face is awesome. I kind of wish they stuck with that because that was one of the coolest things he ever had. You can see there's how his face print looks with this hood piece removed. There's a little text on the side that says Pixel to represent Pixel being in his brain. And his alternate face, he's got this smiling face, which this was the first time ever Zane had a smiling face. So that was very cool to see, and it's great printing, too. The eyes are very vibrant, the expression's full of life. I absolutely love it. Turning him around, you can see Zane's heart is kind of in his back, which is strange, but okay. But it does look really cool, and I like the touch of blue. It's like the only touch of color in this entire figure. The blue here, and then on his face. But yeah, if you can't tell, I absolutely love this one. It would have been better if he was completely silver, but even still, he's fantastic without that. And even 7 years later, stays one of the most unique Ninjago minifigures of all time. The next 2 figures in the set, we have Clouse and we have Choprai. But Choprai is actually Zugu'rai, which if you know what that means, you know what that means. If you don't, I'm not going to go into it here. But anyway, Clouse, obviously one of the most iconic Ninjago villains of all time, a fan favorite. However, this was actually the one and only set he ever came in, which is crazy to think about, like thinking of how much of a fan favorite he actually is. But this is a really good minifigure. I absolutely love the color scheme of the Anaconda cultists. The purple, the dark red, and the touches of green just look so cool combined. And yeah, Clouse's design represents it perfectly. I love like the snake fangs all throughout, the little snake heads on the belt. He just looks absolutely awesome in every single way. He's got the ponytail piece on the back, the little vials on his back, and if I take his hairpiece off, you can see his alternate face, where he's got these bright green eyes, and I guess it's to represent him like using his spells. However, something kind of cool is you could also use that face print for Ghost Clouse from Skybound. Yeah, really great minifigure. And then Choprai / Zugu'rai. This guy absolutely rocks. I love the transformed cultists. The head molds are awesome. I love like all the detail around the bright red eyes. The Anaconda blades were some of the coolest like collectible molded parts that we ever got. I would love to see those like re-released in the modern Ninjago wave. The armor piece is really unique. It's super cool. And then obviously the snake tails are always great to see, and I love like the detail of the pants being ripped to turn into a snake tail. My one complaint here is I wish the belt printing was on the torso instead of on the tail. But as you can see, like on Clouse here, his belt is on his torso, and that's also the case for all the other Anaconda cultists. So if you want to show them like half transformed, you put the snake tail in place of their legs, then suddenly they have 2 belts, which doesn't make much sense. So I know it's a very minor thing, but that's one thing I wish was different. But other than that, this guy is absolutely perfect. He's a ton of fun. I love the colors used here. The kind of like metallic bronze used in his torso is really nice too. There's what he looks like with that armor piece removed, and there's his back torso print. Yeah, on the whole, 3 really great minifigures, 2 of which were exclusive to the set at the time, and all 3 of which this was the cheapest way to get them at the time. And so, overall, what are my thoughts on this set? I loved this set when I was younger, but now that time has gone on and we've gotten many other Ninjago dragons, I'm a little disappointed to say it does not hold up as well as I had hoped. That being said, that doesn't make this a bad set. For the time that it came out, I think it was something revolutionary. It was the first dragon with a brick-built head, and I think it did a fairly good job with it. It's just future dragons did it way better. And the parts of the body are iffy. Some are a bit too blocky, some don't feel organic enough. But I think on the whole, it captures the aesthetic it's going for well enough, and it's a fun toy, which is what's most important. And it's something that's unique. We've never gotten a dragon just like this one ever again. The figure selection here is absolutely perfect. No complaints from me. Though I do think $40 for this was probably a little much. It probably should have been $30 or $35. But $40's not a huge deal. I kind of understand that, especially with like the snake tail piece and everything. So yeah, overall I'd say I like this set. I'm happy I got it when I did. I'm happy I still have it. But it's far from like one of the best Ninjago sets of all time. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, let me know which throwback Ninjago set you want to see next. If you enjoyed this video, please press like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I do LEGO Ninjago videos just like this one almost every day, so if you subscribe, you'll be the first to see them. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!